What's up, guys? Chris from Vega Home Realty Team, and today we are going to be talking about purchasing a multifamily home with a VA loan. That's right, multifamily home with a VA loan, and some things to consider when doing so. So let's get into it. What's up, guys? Chris from Vega Home Realty Team, and today we are going to be talking about a multifamily home. That's right, purchasing a multifamily home using a VA loan. Now, we've talked about the VA loan before in another video that I've done in the past. Please check that out. I'll try to put the link up there if I can figure it out. But it's pretty much the same process, right? You still have to qualify for it. You still have to have the credit. You still have to have money in the bank and stuff like that. So it's still the same process of buying a VA home like a single family, but there's a little bit of extra rules and a little bit of extra stuff here that we could talk about for the multifamily that pertains to the multifamily only, okay? So some points to consider, right? One, you still have to live in the home that you purchase. So if it's a multifamily home, you have 60 days to live in that home. You have to live in the home. Just like a single family home, if you buy it, you have to live there, okay? So that's rule one, right? The other thing is you are allowed to buy up to 4 units, right? So you could buy a house, a 3-level house, or you could buy a small little apartment complex, I guess, with 4 units, or a house that has 4 units, but you just can't have more than 4 units because then you get into the commercial realm and they won't let you do that, okay? So make sure that you have 4 or less units in that house and you should be okay. The other thing is that you can qualify for more units. You just gonna need someone to kind of be on the loan with you that qualifies also. So they're only gonna allow you to have 4, but if you have a partner, let's say, and it doesn't, it doesn't have to be in the military. It could just be a civilian. As long as they qualify with you, you can use a VA loan to purchase a multifamily house with more than 4 units, as long as they qualify, okay? Let's see. The third thing is that you can buy, 2 veterans can buy a multifamily house, 4 units, 1 business property underneath it. So let's say, like you've seen those bodegas or those stores that have like apartments above it. So you could buy something like that with another veteran, right? And 1 extra unit. So technically you could buy up to 6 units with you and another veteran that qualify, okay? So that's kind of the way they do it, the structure of it. All right, so now let's talk about rental income, right? Because that's a good question to ask, right? Can you use rental income to offset the rental or the mortgage, right? Because that's what the loan and the mortgage and the banks, they're going to look at, your money, your situation, plus how much money this house is going to draw in with renters in it, right? So, for them to consider the rental income, the VA, to consider the rental income, there's a couple of things that you need to have in your background and have done in the past, okay? So let me just pull up here some stuff here. All right, so 1, you had to have been a landlord in the past, okay? Right now, from what I'm reading and understanding, there is no time frame of that. So let's say, you were a landlord for 5 years, here you sold the place, now it's, let's say, 2-3 years later, now you want to do the same thing over again. There's no time frame. It doesn't say within the 10 years of buying the house you had to have been a landlord. So there's nothing in there right now. You just have to have proof that you were a landlord in the past to qualify for the rental income, okay? You can still buy the multifamily home. It's just that you would need to prove that that for you to get the rental income to be equated into the mortgage, you have to prove that you were a landlord in the past. Okay. The other thing is reserves. With any business or anything like that, whenever you buy a multifamily house or a rental property or anything, most banks are going to want 6 months worth of mortgage. Okay, it's just the way it is. They want to make sure that if that place goes vacant, which is understandable, if it goes vacant, that you have enough money in savings to cover a couple of months or 6 months worth of rental or rent, so that you can find somebody else to take that over. Okay, it gives you enough time to find somebody to take it over. So whatever your mortgage is, you have to have 6 months of that. So let's just say your mortgage for this multifamily house you're buying is $3,000. 3,000 times 6, 18,000. So let's say it's 2,000. 2,000 times 6, 12. Okay, so just make sure that you have 3 months worth of money, of mortgage saved in a savings account. Okay, so now you're saying, well, let's say I never owned, or I never was a landlord. Okay, but I own the multifamily. That qualifies. There's some. It's a little funny because you would say, like, if I own the multifamily house, well, why wouldn't you be a landlord, right? Well, sometimes if you own the multifamily house, it could be with a family member, so that you own it, but you're not really collecting rent or doing maintenance or anything like that on the place. You're just kind of owning it, you and let's say your brother owning a multifamily, and you guys live there. It could be a family thing, okay? It doesn't have to be collecting rent. You're not a landlord, you're like in a partnership. So, but you have to, if you were not a landlord, you would have to do a couple of things here, right? So one, you have to show that you owned a multifamily home in the past. Okay, that's one. Two, you have experience in managing a multifamily home. So maybe you didn't own it, but you worked for some real estate person or some investor that had a bunch of multifamilies, and that you helped him out collecting, rent, or just in general managing it. Okay, so that would be number two. That would qualify instead of the landlord, right? So if you have experience in collecting rent, right? So let's say you have single family homes. You have a bunch of single family homes, and you're managing those single family homes. You're collecting rent. Or let's say you didn't have let's say you didn't own any homes, but you still collected rent and they were single family homes. That qualifies also. Okay, that's down and dirty. And then if you did some maintenance on some properties, you were employed by somebody to do maintenance on homes that they owned, that would also qualify you in that. So those four things qualify you in substitute of you being a landlord, straight up a landlord. Okay. So some other things to just keep in mind is that if you have a house that you're looking at, it's a multifamily, and let's say 2 of the units out of the 3 are already rented out, they will then take 75% of the money from the rent as rental income. Okay, and the reason why is that other 25% usually goes to savings. They want that money to be counted into the savings account of that for that property, right? So they'll take 75% of the rental income for those 2 units, and the other 25 they're not going to even think about, because you should be pretty much saving that money, putting it away, right? So that 75% will go in consideration to the rental income, will then help your mortgage and everything else. Okay, so if you wanted rental income, those are the steps you would have to take with your buying of a multifamily VA home loan and everything else. Okay, here. So with a VA home loan, you can buy a multifamily home. Okay, it has to be no more than 4 units. No more than 4 units. If you want to do more than 4 units, you have to bring another person along, and that person has to be qualified for that 4 units. Okay, for the residential 4 units. If you want to do more, yeah. So it doesn't have to be, like I said, military. It could be a civilian, but it has to be. They have to qualify. If you want to do like a storefront with some multifamilies above it, and you want to do 2 veterans, you can do that, and you could go over the 4 limit rule, right? Because then that would be, say 3 units plus the storefront, and then if you have another unit or whatever else, you're allowed to go over 4 basically if there's 2 veterans on this loan that both qualify. Recapping on the rental income, you can use the rental income as long as you are a landlord and you have 6 months worth of mortgage. if you weren't a landlord, remember, you have to have done landlord duties, I guess you could say, landlord task in the past, right? So you had to have either owned a multifamily home, you have to either manage a multifamily home in the past, you had to collect, experience collecting property rentals, meaning buying rentals or whatever, and collecting money. And then also doing property maintenance, right? So you have to have experience in the maintenance role, right, of the properties. So, and then remember, they only take 75% of the rental income. So that's all I got for you. If you have any questions, please hit me up in the comments. You could also email me, text me, call me. I'm here. And that's pretty much it. So stay frosty, watch your six, and peace.